Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. Except, it's not just me, it is the man, the myth, the Admiral, Salty Simon! How are you doing, my...
Oh, all right. I'm all right.
Nice. I was going to say, my victorious friend.
Makes a change.
I know, right? So for those of you that are joining us for the first time, I'll just quickly explain how we kind of do these episodes. So Simon and I do these. We've been doing these podcast things a bit ad hoc. We feel like we've got the formula kind of like down. I've finally got organised enough to make it a regular thing. So hopefully you'll be seeing these every other week, unless something particularly exciting happens. Then maybe you'll see it every week, or maybe we'll enjoy doing them so much the community will enjoy them that we'll do them every week. But at least every other week. That's the plan. And basically, we often do these post-battle, when Sam and I have played a game. And that way, we sort of go to bed, and we wake up the next day, and we think about all the things that happened during the game, and what worked and what didn't work, and we have we try and add our own perspective, as it were. And sometimes we agree on things, sometimes we don't, but I always tend to find that we at least come away with something mildly interesting and above. To take away from the whole experience.
That'd be interesting. That's one way of putting it.
But we don't just talk about the battle. We try and put it through the frame of like the bigger picture. Like, okay, we tried this unit. How did it feel? What was it like facing this list? What do we think about this attachment? We have hot takes, insights, all that kind of stuff.
To be fair, we do try and talk about the battle, and then we just go like, whoosh.
Yeah, it goes everywhere. It goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's the briefing. Let's get straight into this, and let's talk about the battle yesterday. Obviously, there will be spoilers for that, so if you don't want to have any spoilers, don't worry. This video has come out after the battle's already been uploaded. There'll be a link to that battle down in the description below, so if you follow that link, you can go watch the game, and then there you go. If you don't care about spoilers... Pardon?
Unless you've cocked up and downloaded.
Oh yeah, of course, always. But if you're not bothered about spoilers, or you've already seen the battle, of course, stay tuned. So yesterday, Simon gave me one of the hardest losses that I've had in a long time. I don't mean to conjure some rather vivid and terrible imagery, but I feel like he buggered me.
Well, thank you very much. The last time I'm coming around to yours, then.
I thought we said never in the house.
Oh, there goes the monetization for
It's gone. Anyway. It's gone. It's out of there. It's out of there. So Simon was using Tyranids for the first time, and we'll come to Tyranids a little bit later. We'll want to focus on the guard at first, of course. Give guard preferential treatment. It's a guard channel after all. But I was running siege attachment, and I was running some fobs, and I was running the dreadnoughts, the tough command squads, and I was running some veteran squads, and I was running some tanks as well. Now I want to start off on a positive note and talk about what worked. Let's talk about the dreadnought. That is the command squad where you don't add it to a big blob. You have a lone command squad. Add an ogre bodyguard to it, and it becomes toughness 6. Simon, I'm going to give those a thumbs up. Now, I know you have some. You're sort of here to hit. You're waxing and waning a little bit. So why don't you give us your thoughts, and then I'll jump in.
So right, put them in mechanized guard. Massive thumbs up.
Yeah.
Fantastic unit for that, I think. Pop them in a Chimera, get out, toughness 6, they fit in. They're going to be a bit more sticky than a 10-man squad. They've got a little bit of punch, you've got a few special weapons. Love it. I'm not convinced it's the must-have accessory for all guard lists. It's got a place. That place is in Mech, in my view.
And we need to circle back around to that, because I've got some deep thoughts about Mech at the moment, and the wider guard meta, but we'll try and avoid the first tangent in 5 minutes. So I am inclined to agree with you. Now, I think it's important to caveat this, that yesterday when I was running the Dreadnought, because I was erring on the side of caution, because despite the fact that I've played probably hundreds of games 10th edition, I'm not a rules guy. You know, I don't read the rules read me. And so I always like to, if I'm not sure about something, I always like to err on the side of caution. And so what I was doing is I wasn't taking wounds on the Ogre and Bodyguard first, I was taking them on the little guys first. Now, if that was wrong, let us know down in the comment section, because I think if you can take wounds on the Ogre first, potentially that can massively boost the power of the unit, because you can lose a couple of the 1 wound guys, keep the medic alive, then start taking wounds on the Ogre and then resurrect the ablative wound guys again. Now, I wasn't doing that because I wasn't certain. Now, in my mind, if you can do that, it makes the unit even better. The thing is, the reason why I'm inclined to agree with Simon regarding the mech thing is because if you're taking a couple of these things and you're foot slogging them, you might as well have just taken a squad of Bulgrin.
Yeah.
If you take them and put them inside a Chimera, you've got a fast-moving unit, and it's never been done that a unit that can get out of a Chimera and hold an objective and not die like piss.
Yeah. I think that's where it shines.
I think that's where it shines. But I do think it was important to note one of the key moments in the battle was when a unit of Gene Stealers, like 7 strong, led by a Broodlord, charged my Dreadnought and didn't kill it. The Ogre survived on a wound or 2, and the officer survived as well.
Yeah,
in the next, like in subsequent turns, turn 3, turn 4, something around that time, I charged 5 Gene Stealers with a veteran squad, and I lost everybody. So I think it really did put it in perspective for me of like how durable these things are. And you know, you say they're not needed in every guard list. I think you're going to find a lot of people putting them in their armies. Maybe one. If you're not going for a big squad of Bulgrin, it's a budget Bulgrin.
I just don't think 3 in every list is it is a must-have. I think that's where I've kind of, yes, it's got its place. Yes, I can see certain matchups, certain certain instances where that actually go, that's a great unit for that particular thing. I just don't think it's down the list. Right, where am I doing? I'm putting together a guard list, 3 of those squads straight in. Just don't see that. But then that's an incredibly hot take, and I'm frequently wrong.
Well, you've been more right than wrong recently. I just want to say you've been more right than wrong recently. But I think what we can say, which is incredibly positive, and I think a pleasant surprise to both of us, is Dreadnought, in some capacity or another, is not a mad idea with no basis. It's good.
Yeah,
it's a viable tactic.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Now, I think what is one thing to mention is you said, when we were sort of chatting about this before we went live, you did say something quite controversial. Now that we've talked about it a bit more, I want to see if you still have that same take.
Yeah.
You said you would have rather faced a 20. You said you would have found it harder to face a 20-man blob than a Dreadnought. Do you still believe that?
What, is a one-on-one?
Generally speaking.
So,
whatever perspective, take us through your thoughts.
One-on-one situationally, I think is a thing. That would be very much matchup dependent. I think if I was sat across from someone and they went, "Here's my 100 guardsmen," or "Here's my 3 Dreadnoughts and 2 squad," I think I would go, I'm gonna take the Dreadnoughts. Mm-hmm. I really would. Not because on paper, toughness 6, but actually the game's played on the table, and actually having 100 bodies with all that OC, all that screening potential, I just think the utility is better. I just
controversial.
Yes, again, depends where you put, it comes back to where you take those wounds. But actually, you still only have to chip off 4 guys to kind of go, you know what, it's at that point, it's just a slightly buffed up guardsman and a Bulgrin, and it's not, what's that going to do? Yes, all right. I say, what's that going to do? It's going to kill a big bug if you go.
Yeah.
But I just that's my thought that actually you get down to 2 people. It's not screening. It's not holding anything. It's not generally going to kill that much. Whereas at least a 10 man, if you've got 10 guardsmen, then it can screen. It can hold an objective. It can take an objective. It can. That's where I come back to, and that might just be PTSD of playing you and you're a never-ending horde of guardsmen.
It's a very good point. I think it's a very important perspective. The PTSD is actually, for once, a good thing. I shouldn't say that, but yesterday was the first time that I ran. I would call it the new model army, which was a very elite guard style force. I didn't have any blobs in my list, and I felt wildly uncomfortable.
Well, that's because it's the first time you've not outnumbered me ever.
But
Not fun, is it?
No, it's very strange when you've got one unit and that one unit has to do a job and it does. It's like it really showed the lack of redundancy in my list, and I do not know how these elite armies do it. I don't know how they do it. Maybe it's the fact that
that's why you keep handing my ass to me whenever I play Grey Knights, because I don't know either.
Maybe it's the fact that these, I don't know, man. Like the fact that you've got one, just hypothetically, someone's got 1 unit and I've got 2 units. It's like, okay, well, my 2 units cumulatively is going to gank your 1 unit. It was mad. Like I felt the receiving end of what it's been like to play against my kind of tactics for years, which is my opponent will move on to the objective and go, sweet, that pretty elite unit is going to hold that objective now, and then I've just gone, send in the next wave, send in the next wave, send in the next wave, and then the first wave you hold it, second wave you buckle down to 1 knee, third wave you're gone, and it's last man standing.
And we've said this off camera. I've said this that when we've played, and particularly with my Grey Knights, I think when I've been playing, it's actually I don't know how to beat your waves of infantry coming in. I just don't, and that's whenever I see that, I'm like, ugh, because I think I've lost that before I've even started.
It's a real uphill battle.
Yeah, but I mean, better players than me know how to do it. But actually, for Johnny Average, or Jenny Average, that's a real difficult matchup. I've got elite troops, you've got 100 guardsmen, you're just going to keep throwing at me. How do I deal with that? Because
and I think with guard, it's like also even if you wipe out 75% of a blob, that still leaves all the special weapons, which are the ones that are doing most of the work.
Exactly.
Now, do you think because this is a very controversial take, because the last few weeks we've kind of been saying, last few times we've done this, we've kind of said that we think it's more about 10-man squads than 20-man squads. Now that you have faced what is essentially an army based around 10-man squads.
You said 10-man, I've never agreed with you on that one.
Okay, well, now that you've faced an army that's been based around, however you want to put it, like more elite 10-man squads, do you think Blob Guard, as much as less good as it is now, with not having Feel No Pains and stuff, do you still think it is necessary?
Yeah, I think mixing the two is perfectly. I don't think you can go, right, here's a load of 10-man guard squads, because they still die easily. That's, I get that. But actually having a 20-man guard squad and then a 10-man guard squad that are going to do, give you the punch in, that's a complete, so maybe an equal number of guard. So you've got, I don't know, 3 blobs of 20 guards, and then 6 blobs of 10. To make up your 120. So you've actually got the firepower, smaller units. That might be, something that's worth looking at. I just there's a middle ground, I think, is where I'm falling on, and actually having those 20-man squad, and that's what I discovered yesterday playing the Nids. Having a 20-man squad that you can just go send in the next wave.
Yeah.
Send it, when you get to turn 3 and your opponent's whittled down, and you're going, oh, by the way, and that's what I thought. I sat there on turn 3 before you decided to go all bloody bullshit on me. And I'm like, right, it's turn 3, and I still got 2 20-man squads left.
Yeah, and I'm down to scraplets.
Yeah, and I'm like, I've still got 2 20-man squads left. So yeah, you've absolutely killed 2 20-man squad and my Gene Stealers. I'm on it, but I still got these 2 20-man blobs left.
Yeah.
And I just don't think, from a gameplay type thing, that can be, stated what a nice feeling that is.
He's beginning to believe.
It's like, right, there you go. Right, there you go. You've literally spent 2 turns trying to kill 2 20-man blobs. I whittled you down. Guess what? Here's another 40.
I think it's happening, people. Simon is the scales are beginning to fall from his eyes. He no longer sees the Matrix. He just sees blonde, brunette, redhead. He just sees the truth, the inevitable truth, and that is the way of the Horde is the right way.
What goes round that, I completely agree, is open for debate. If I'm going to be running a lot of guard that isn't mechanized, my first thing would be sticking 3 20-man squads down as a starting point every time.
Would you go 3 20-mans, and how would you order them? Because obviously the officers are basically the same price as the squad.
Again, how I'm building the rest of the list, I think. But as a starting point, it's going to be the 60 guardsmen there.
Yeah, 60 to 80, because I think 80, you having those 4 20-man blobs was quite good. If you hadn't had the 4th one, I think it would have petered out. So I think 80 is still good.
But yeah, maybe 80 and 210. I don't know how you then build out from that, because I've never really played it. But I don't think that starting with 3 20-man blobs is a bad start, or 4. Because that is, what is it, 65 times.
It's 100. It's 360 points for 3 of them, 480 for 4 of them. It's not bad at all. Plenty of room left over.
And that's where I keep coming back to. It's not even, that's 80 OC2 regenerating squads with special weapons that you can bang on the table, and it's not even 25%. It's not even 25% of your points.
So what you're saying, Simon, is after 2 months of this codex, almost 3 months of this codex being out, and us having tried pretty much every detachment, and me taking it to a super major tournament, and us conducting incredible levels of detailed research and analysis, our conclusion is that you should still be taking blobs with guardsmen.
No, I'm saying if you were playing infantry cards, that would be your starting point. But yeah,
we've tried everything. And it just comes back to the infantryman. It always comes back.
Genuinely, if you rocked up next time we play and you stick, and I come into to where the table is, and I have a look at the table, and I'm like, right, what's the bastard bringing this time? And if I get to the top of the stairs and there's 80 guardsmen in ranks, my first thought is like,
it's good to turn around and go back down.
Yeah.
Do you know what we need?
And if I come up and there's 3 dreadnoughts, I'm like, right, I might struggle to kill them as easily as the guards, but I can play around that. Until you people don't realise how hard it is to play around that many people.
And even if you beat it melts your brain.
Yeah.
So it's not.
That's what it's a really, really, really intimidating thing to look at across the table, if you've built into playing against a vehicle meta, you're going to struggle to kill them. If you play a deep strike movement shenanigans army, you're going to struggle to get around the table. I'm not saying like I just don't think yesterday I win that game if you're running up 80 guardsmen and
if we replace basically, how would we? I think the way I would change my list from yesterday, there's a few things I want to talk about actually. The thing I would change my list from yesterday fundamentally is I'd mix the armor up a little bit differently, and I would drop one field ordnance battery, and I would I think I'd drop the dreadnoughts, and I would potentially run 5 25-man blobs with command squads.
Yeah. I just
infantry and tanks and artillery, man. When did that shit never goes out of fashion?
It just doesn't.
It never goes out of fashion. Well, this is the first and last podcast. We don't really talk about anything else. We've kind of.
Honestly, don't fix what ain't broken. I sometimes try and be a bit clever about this combo and that combo, and actually, just
I agree.
You know what? Here's 80. Here's 80 guardsmen. That's 160 OC.
Yeah.
It's 240 if you give them the
banner or the order. Yeah. Or it's even more if you combine both. It's 320 OC. Maximum 320 OC.
I just go back to there was an article of 12, 18 months ago, and it might have been the back end of the night, and someone on Warhammer community, competitive, sorry, on the Reddit, and he'd done a thing about deployment. It was a really good read, and he basically said Warhammer is a game, 40k is a game about standing in a game of standing
in circles, yeah.
Just all the cleverness. You go. That's where I've got to with it. Different in Mech Guard. That's why I'm thinking those squads are much better in Mech Guard. But
yeah. So one thing I want to, we've talked about positives and how, and I can tell you right now, I'm extremely happy to know that Blob Guard is doing better again. I think Blob Guard. I think it's important to caveat. I think Blob Guard is still suffering because the lack of feel no pain means you do die like piss. You're saying 80. I'm truly thinking like maybe 120 if you're going to go down that route. Yeah. But the point is, I think that there's clever ways of resolving this, and then there's the guard way of resolving this, which is if you've run out of bodies, you didn't bring enough bodies. And so that's kind of where the where my mind is. Let's go over to a negative for a moment.
Yeah.
I want to say right now to a lot of people watching this video that I have been lied to. I have been bamboozled. It's goddamn chicanery. There's been loads of competitive players out there and loads of people in my chat out there that have been saying what you want to do with guard is take low AP weapons and then boost them up. So it doesn't matter if your battle cannon is AP -1. It doesn't matter if your Rogal Dawn is like only AP -2. You can take things like an Exterminator, or you can take things like a Hellhound, or both, or some combination, and you can basically boost the AP up so that weapon actually is effective. I'm going to say right here, right now, that is bullshit. It's utterly bullshit, man. How many AP -1 weapons did I have yesterday? And it wasn't like I only took AP -1. I had las cannons in there, I had plasma, I had melter, I got down multi-melters as well. Like, how many times? The fact that I've spent, so to give you guys perspective, I had tank commanders with battle cannons, and then I had exterminators, exterminators. And the idea was I would fire the exterminator first, and then I would fire the tank commander second. And I'm sure there are potentially better ways you could combo that, don't get me wrong, but that was just like it was just the way, because I wanted to take that third fob. That's the way I wanted to run it. And if I hadn't taken that third fob, potentially it could have been 2 Rogal Dawn commanders, but the end result wouldn't have been any different. The end result is the moment that I ran into anything with a 2-up save, I had to spend 180 points doing nothing to then make the more expensive unit achieve something mild. I spent 180 points to do nothing to make 200 plus points do a little something. And the entire time, that entire game, I was just looking at this situation and I was like, do you know what? If this was 2 Vanquishers and I'd executed the plasma cannons on my Lehman Russ commanders, I'd be, your big bugs would have been blown away. Completely blown away.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm sorry, but if you're not Vank pilled at this point, you're just.
Now you got me thinking.
Yeah. Get. I'm sorry, but if you're not taking Vanquishers at this point, if you're not on the maximum AP train at this point, just motherfucker, just sit down. You know, just take a knee. You're never gonna get there. I know I'm kind of being arrogant. I'm kind of being a dick, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dear viewers, but I'm being real, man. I felt anemic. I felt like a little pussy-o. I felt like I was playing with like one hand behind my back. The fact that I didn't just have the ability to go fuck off with a big Vanquisher shot, it felt so restrictive. I had four battle tanks, and the only time that I was able to kill a big monster was in melee. Come on. What, you had 3 big bugs at the end of the game? 4 big bugs?
Yeah. No, I had 2 left. No, 3 left, you're right. No, I lost 2.
You had Tyrone the Tyrannofex. You lost 2. You lost 2. And do you know what? The only other time, when I killed Terry the Turvigon, the only time I killed that was when I put multi-melters into it. What are multi-melters? Big fucking AP weapons. So I am sorry. I'm just so utterly convinced beyond anything. I went against my. I'm ranting. I've got Simon. I've gone hot. But
I'm enjoying this.
I've gone hot. But for months, for years, Simon, I came to this conclusion over playing 10th edition. Don't bother taking weapons that boost AP. Just take weapons that come with good AP. Just start off with the good weapon, motherfucker. Don't try and build up to it. And for the first time yesterday, and also in that combined arms game when I was running the Double Dawn and the Exterminator and blah blah blah, and I tried again. In both, it's two times, dear viewer. I have tried this alternative method of warfare, and 2 times I have been wholly and utterly let down. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day was ruined. Now, Simon, what do you think about that?
I'm glad you had a good day, to be fair. But more days like that, please.
Because go on. I've been going hot. You go.
No, I just 180 points. I 180 points just to give some other guns plus 1 AP is ridiculous.
It's a big bag of shit. Why is everyone wanking these things off?
Pointless.
Let me tell you this, Simon. When you played against the Vanquishers, what was your reaction after you got vanked one time? You're like, I need to go home.
Can I do that? I don't know.
We'll save it for the OnlyFans. We'll save it for the Mordian Glory Hole.
Did not like them. Did not like them whatsoever. But then I don't. You know what? You know what's weird? That actually, I just, again, I think it's psychological because I'm like, yesterday I've got 2 of them in one thing, and I'm thinking this thing's just not going to hit. And it didn't for most of the game, and then you play. You play against them, and it's just like, oh, hang on a second, if that thing does hit me, but it's.
Keep going, man. This is music to my ears.
It is gonna hurt, and especially if you get somewhere to park it, take aim, give it the heavy rule, hitting on 2, gonna be. It's a wound roll. It re-rolls, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, but you can CP the, 1 if you do roll it. Yeah, but the 145 points is. Yeah.
It's 145 points.
plus your large cannon, plus your hunter killer,
And plasma cannons.
plus plasma cannons. Yeah.
There's no comparison. There's no comparison. Why on God's green earth would I not take a Vanquisher? And the funny thing is everyone disagrees with me on this. Not everyone. Not everyone. A lot of people disagree with me on this. There's a split in the MG community right now. The cult of the Vanquisher versus the cult of the AP boosters. And I'm just saying right now, the cult of the AP boosters, that is a false religion. Don't buy into that hokey. Don't buy into that hokum. It's malarkey. It's the cult of the Vanquisher all the way. And Simon, what you've just said there about it's a psychology of if it hits you, it could hurt. That is a massively important part about the Vanquisher. Because I don't need every single Vanquisher shot to be successful. I only need one to go through. Out of 3, I need one to go through. But you need to pass every single save. And if you fail that 4 up, you're going to have a unit cut in half or one-shotted. Between the las cannon and all the other stuff, it's gone.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but I do want to throw the community a bit of a bone here. Okay. Multi-melter sponsons. I derided them and lambasted them. Yesterday, they came in clutch. I quite like the multi-melter sponsors. I'm having a mad thought, Simon.
Oh God.
I don't know if this is the lack of sleep talking as I was tossing and turning last night from my absolute ruthless destruction, but what you take triple Vanquisher.
Yeah.
What if you were going in a I don't know how this would fit in the big list, but what about Punisher tanks with multi-melters? Cheaper than a Demolisher, 150 points. You're not taking it for the main gun. You're taking it for the fact that for 150 points, you can have Hunter Killer Missile, las cannon, and 4 multi-melter shots.
I don't know. It's not a bad show, actually.
Now the question is, how do you square all of it together? Because if you take Vanquishers and Punishers, what about tank? How do you order them? You know, there is a little bit of how do we get this to land?
Yeah.
What about?
I think that's the thing.
What about combined arms? I'm throwing stuff at you. Combined arms. You take 6 cheap Lieben Russes, and then you use that stratagem every turn with Creed to be able to order them all using infantry officers.
That would work.
That's cheap, right?
What's that? 3 lots of 145.
At 3 lots of 150, so it's like less than 900 points.
Yeah, 885.
That's wildly interesting.
Plus, you put in all those guardsmen we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, Simon, I hope you're looking forward to the next battle report.
Yeah. My turn to play guard, isn't it?
Pardon? Oh, it's your turn to play guard. No! Wait. No. You only own 3 liras, motherfucker, and I'm not lending you mine.
Brownie.
Okay, so we've talked about Dreadnoughts, we've talked about Blob Guard, we've talked about AP versus native AP versus AP stacking. We've even talked a little bit about hordes and stuff. So there's a couple of things that I kind of I just want to briefly sort of touch upon. Firstly, the veteran squads. So this idea of you take a 10-man squad and a command squad. After the game yesterday, I came away feeling a little underwhelmed by them.
Yes.
But I realised that maybe I had set my expectations a little too high. So the only thing, this is just a quick note to the veteran squads. I still think they're I think they're a good unit, a good battle line unit, but it's a guardsman squad, and I found their damage output to be totally acceptable when they were shooting at your Hormagaunts. The Hormagaunts died. When they shot the Gene Stealers, the Gene Stealers died. They just couldn't take any damage. So the way I think in a funny sort of way, they are exactly as veteran squads used to be. They punch good, but they can't take any hits. So I think actually, veteran squads get a thumbs up. Just don't just treat them as veteran squads of old, and you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
And the last thing, and this might be a biggie, it might be a smallie. Field ordnance batteries. I concur.
Very matchup dependent, I think.
A toughie.
So I can't. I was thinking about this last night when I was driving home, and I'm like, because the damage 2.
Yeah.
I want to put them into Gene Stealers.
I
want to put them into Marines, because that's, every one through is you're popping one. That's, that's I'm sort of thinking that's where I want to shoot them, but then it didn't seem to do that much. So I sort of rolled well, and you didn't roll particularly well, and perhaps it.
Here's the thing, if I may just jump in 1 second. You say I didn't roll particularly well. Bro, I shot those things every turn for 5 turns.
Yeah.
And that's what, how many, is that 15? 15 times I shot Field batteries. If by the 15th time you're going, oh, they're not doing as much as I expected, then it's not a bad game. It's not do you know what I mean? That's just the unit that's the unit doing what it does, whatever that may be.
Yeah, it's fluffy. I wouldn't. Yeah.
Let me throw this at you.
I thought that first term when he was like, "I'm going to shoot your Gene Stealers," I thought, right, those Gene Stealers are in a whole world of trouble here. I thought, like, they're just gonna, you're going to have 2d6 plus 8 on the first one, or 2d6
with sustained.
6. Yeah, 6 plus sustained. You're going to be wounded on 3s. You're going to be. I'm going to be saving on 5s, and all right, I rolled well with my feel no pain and whatnot. And I'm like, 2 of those units should really absolutely gimp a unit of Gene Stealers. Absolutely.
I agree.
And it did.
It didn't.
It just didn't.
So I think there's a few things that need to be taken into account here. Firstly, damage 2 is great until someone has a feel no pain, and every motherfucker has a feel no pain. I mean, the last time you didn't face a feel no pain was when you played against Guard. Ironically, everyone else is running around with feel no pains. We lost all of ours. So damage 2 is great until you come across feel no pain. I think the other thing with it is we were learning what fobs could do. First time either one of us had used them. Now, if we play that game again, and I targeted from turn 1 your big blobs, now that could have swung the game entirely.
Yes.
Because whilst we're brawling in the middle, the artillery is hammering your second wave, your third wave.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you use them. I think they are there to chip off a few wounds from anything that's tougher than a guardsman, whether it's a marine or a gene stealer, and they are good at killing light infantry. Now, fortunately, we are entering a bit of an Eldar meta, so interestingly, I think they actually have quite a lot of
place.
And we're entering a bit of an orc meta as well, because orcs are on the resurgence at the moment. I think they'll do fine into orcs, even though they're only wounding on 3s. Most orc models are only 1 wound, so even if they have a feel no pain, you can typically get through it. So I think with field ordnance batteries, I saw them all there. Those, the 6. Yeah, they looked really good. I saw 6. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna blow Simon off the table. I'm gonna shatter his whole world. And it was like 3 DG. I was like, damn.
Yeah, I mean that first term was very, very I mean, because I think it was enough. Because I was picking saving 1 or 2 every time, and I think every single Feel No Pain I made at least one of them. So I was literally halving.
But that is what Feel No Pain does. That's why I hate Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
It's not every so often it saves a guy. It's always saves a guy. Always does. Yeah. How many? I mean, this goes out to you, Simon, but also goes out to the viewers. How many times you've been in a game and someone keeps making those 5 Feel No Pains?
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I think so. I would say so. Here's an interesting question to be thrown at you though. Artillery guns, the new ones for the Krieg.
Yeah.
They're heavy mortars. You only get 1 gun, but it fires D6 plus 3 shots plus blast. So it's less swingy than the fob.
Yeah.
And it's strength 8. It's strength 8 minus 1 damage too. And most importantly, it's 15 points cheaper at the time of recording. I think that's the way to go.
It's a big old base size as well.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Depends on the map, doesn't it, to be fair?
Hmm.
Let's be honest, what you could do is run 3 of them, 3 fobs, 3 more teams. Have it.
Yes, but then I do value our friendship. So
Just there you go. It's 120 guardsmen ranked up in front of you, plus all that, just hiding behind everything, and then just gonna.
How many points is that? But let's see if we can work out the points.
Well, I'll do it now.
Okay, so it's 110 times 3, and then it's 95, 95, 95, and then it's 65, 65, 65. That's 810 points. And then you need the officers for them. But I mean, you could literally be like Creed. Okay, that's 3 of them ordered.
Yeah.
And then Castellan, that's 2 of them ordered. And then maybe it's like another Castellan, and just don't worry if a couple of more teams don't have orders.
Yeah.
That comes to 985 points. Then if we take a lot of guardsmen, let's say 6 blobs of Cadians, because they're relatively cheap. 120, 120, 120, 120, 120, 120. 1,705 points.
Oh dear.
Now we're going to need some orders, but
why would you need orders?
I don't know, man. I feel like they're quite important in a guard army.
Yeah, but no, all the guns.
How would I add another Castellan in, and then command squad, command squad, command squad. That would get you another 5 orders. That's 5 orders for 6 blobs. Put it in.
Yeah.
Combined arms for Grand Strategist.
Yeah.
30 points left over.
Oh dear.
And they say indirect fire is dead. How interesting. So you get to use the Punishers, and I'll use that next time. The time after.
It would be funny. It just for if there's someone you don't want to be friends with anymore.
Yeah. You could. What's wild is you could. Again, you're going to start running out of orders, but you could drop one of those guard blobs. So you'd go down to 100 guardsmen. But don't forget, you're going to have. It's still like 100 guardsmen. It's like 110 guards, include the command squads. You could then get another 3 squads of mortars.
Reporting for duty, sir!
Because you can have Catachan mortars and Cadian mortars.
Yeah.
So that's like 18 mortars, 3 artillery teams, and 6 bombast cannons.
Do it.
Oh. That's quite terrifying. That's quite terrifying. Well, that's yeah. But going back to the topic at hand, I think field batteries. I think you've got to see that. My conclusion on them is you've got to use them as you would any other artillery, which is it's a support asset. You can't rely on it in a normal game. You can't rely on it to do heavy lifting.
I think that just when we were doing it, we were going through the army list, and it was like, right, what am I going to stick on my home objective? And it meant that I had to put something a bit more chunky there than I would like to have done.
That's true. That's true.
You know, so there is that element of actually, it is, are you taking something out of your opponent's list that's just going to have to sit there because they can't play, they can't just put some chaff there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
true.
that anybody who hasn't got blown up, is and here's my 60-point unit of trash that I'm just going to sit on the home objective, all of a sudden goes, well, I can't do that anymore, and actually I'm taking something else out of my list to do a job that. Yeah. So that again, how much of that's worth, I don't know, but it was certainly something that came into my thinking yesterday because my Tyranid warriors just sat there the whole game and did sod all.
And it was, I guess it's kind of a damning indictment of what happened on my end of the board, which is you didn't need them.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if you spent 240 quid to buy 6 Tyranid warriors off eBay from like the very first ones, and it's just like...
Simon in his bloody second edition Tyranid obsession. I think you've got to get the army, man. I think what we do is we get into third edition, because we've got all the books, remember, right? We've been meaning, that's what I want to do towards the end of 10th. It starts petering out, have a look at a bit of old hammer. I think man, I think you just gotta do it, pull the trigger, drop a cool like grand on a second edition like Tyranid army. The old Screamer Killers where they're like and all this kind of stuff.
Come and live with you when Debbie kicks me out.
Yeah, man, I got a spare bedroom. It's all good. And then you can play Warhammer with me every day.
The cats be pleased to see me anyway.
That's true. Loki was very, very, very gooey yesterday. There was one thing I was going to mention. Oh yeah, so I know it's going to sound a bit. We sort of touched upon this already, but if I change my list, if we did the same game again, and I took basically the same list but just change the units and not change the same list. If I took the same list,
exactly the same list, but then just yeah.
If I took the same list, as in the same composition of tanks, artillery, and infantry, but I basically tweaked, like the Lehman Russ types, and then I tweaked the infantry to be traditional style infantry. So it's the same thing, but it's going.
Yeah.
Old school. Do you think that would be better?
I think so, yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah. For a long time we've been talking about this elite guard perspective. And we think we've sort of... I think it's a paper tiger.
I just come back to... The game's played on the table. And actually... That's great. Yes, I've got this unit and it's got but what do I want it to do on the table and how do I get it to do that?
Yeah.
And I just think that the Dreadnoks is a really great example. Yeah, it looks fantastic on paper. In theory, I just need to get 4 wounds through and make it kind of, that's it. And I do that, then all of a sudden your banner's got you. All of a sudden you're an OBSEC 2 unit.
Yeah.
Or be toughness 6. Yeah, great. So what?
Yeah.
That is genuinely where I keep getting. So what? I just need 1 Space Marine to take that off you. I just need 1 Guards person to take that objective off you. I just and that's where I keep coming back to with it.
Yeah.
It's like you go the veteran squad. The amount of shots that they can put out, great. Where am I going to put them to get those shots, and how do I get them there?
Yeah.
So if you're foot slogging them off the board, like you said, you're going to get shot off the board.
Yeah.
So perhaps it's a great strategic reserves unit.
A second wave unit.
Yeah.
First wave
Yeah.
is the shit munchers that all get eaten.
Yeah.
Second wave in the guard is the veterans that come out. And when the enemies expose themselves and their units are sat on objectives and stuff, you go surprise and you fill them in with some very cheap special weapons.
And I just think that those units are seasoning, but they're not the steak.
Yeah, I think I was too much seasoning yesterday. Sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Mech.
Yeah. Ooh.
I know, your favourite topic. And this might be it might be a big topic, it might be a little one, depending, because I think we're basically going to agree on this, but... if I look around the guard ecosystem at the moment, I'm seeing everyone experimenting, throwing stuff at the wall, trying out new detachments and stuff. But I think there is only one playstyle which has basically survived the transition from the index to the codex intact. Basically zero changes required.
Yeah.
That is Mech Guard.
Yeah.
I think everyone else is flailing around, including myself. I'm struggling. How do I quite square the circle with Recon? How do I quite square the circle with Hybrid? And then I just look at my Steel Legion.
Yeah.
And I think I could pick that off the shelf, stick it in Combined Arms, and play a game of it tomorrow and be completely comfortable.
What's nice though, you can do it in 2 different detachments.
Yeah. Hammer and
yeah.
not Mech Assault, Hammer and Combined.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
Yeah. And it's basically been the same since I've been playing it. I don't think it's, your army composition.
That army, Simon, I bought it at the beginning of 8th edition. Every single model, because this is when Chimeras is going to make people in chat very angry. So when brand new in box on Games Workshop, you could buy Chimeras for £20.
Yes.
I once did a job for someone and they paid me with 3 Chimeras. New in box. No, it wasn't anything dodgy. It wasn't anything dodgy. It was my it's my brother. I helped my brother. I can't remember what it was now, but it was something like really important. And he didn't have to pay me, obviously, his family, but he knew I was building up my Steel Legion, and I think he'd not got me a Christmas present or a birthday present that year, just because we're both as useless as each other. And I'll tell you what, I'll get you I'll get you a Christmas birthday present. He got me 2 brand new in-box Chimeras for £40 from GW. Yeah.
That's when I was starting my Steel Legion.
Yeah. But my Steel Legion army,
my retirement fund.
Yeah. But my Steel Legion army of 6 Chimeras, 6 Chimeras and 6 Russes, and some artillery. I have Manticores. They're not very good right now, but still. Has basically needed. I've only added stuff to it because I thought it was cool, not because I felt some FOMO meta tactical obligation to do so. And that's wild.
I mean, the core is. I mean, I'm going between 5 and 6 at the moment. I've gone from 6 down to 5, but then it's again the stakes are the same. It's the seasoning. What kind of tanks do you put around it? So, yeah.
I always in 8th edition, you used to be able to get. This is going to again make people feel like crazy. You could get 6 Chimeras and 16 Russes, and fit in Manticores and Sentinels as well. That's how cheap points were. How cheap Guard was back then. But even with all of that, our units individually weren't anywhere near as good.
No X-Lives.
But that's because we were
You go all days of having a Lehman Russ or someone going, here's a Gretchen. Oh, right.
Yeah.
The rest of the game.
And you could have but Guardsman squads were 40 points.
Yeah.
Because you didn't need to give them any special equipment. So you were like, I mean, Simon, let me ask you this. If you didn't have to take that plasma gun and that melter gun, and your Guardsman squad would be 40 points, what would you rather take? 65-point Guardsman squad with the melter gun and the plasma gun, or a 40-point squad with just las guns?
Yeah, but that's again that's just one example.
Yeah, I know. But you take the point.
40 points every day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly, because that is how you like to play your traditional Mech Guard. which is the guys inside are just there to jump out and mop up. They're not there to do anything. So I don't want to pay for weapons that I don't really want to use. Yeah, but anyway, we're starting to sound like old men here.
It's nice that there's two ways of playing it.
Yes, getting back on topic.
Exactly right, and
I
definitely.
think I'm going to say this. I think Mech Guard has been. Sometimes it has been the best way to play Guard. Sometimes it has been just a viable way to play Guard. But for coming up to 10 years now, it has never been a bad way to play Guard. Never been bad.
Great.
And pure infantry has waxed and waned, and hybrid has waxed and waned, and elite guard has waxed and waned, but the steady as a rock has always been the Mech Guard. And if you're a new player listening to this and you're thinking, I want to get into Guard, I honestly would recommend start with tanks, carriers, and infantry. And it's cheaper to buy. Shout out to community member Trooper number 2102, who has been on a mad crusade to buy chimeras for as cheap as possible, and he has been buying second edition chimeras off eBay, and they've been like 20 quid again, because no one wants them because they only come with a multi-laser and a heavy bolter. So people are like, I don't want the multi-laser, and he's like, screw it, they're really like, double heavy bolter's nice, but I'm not taking that much of a hit taking a multi-laser. It's like, whatever. And so he's running around with, I think he's got 4 of them now, and he's also got, he must be up to like 6 chimeras in like 2 months, and he's only spent like a couple of $100, which by American standards is very reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason is it's never relied on data sheets.
Yes.
So it is his, I'm going to send the mechanized troops up the field. You're going to have to kill the tanks. If you kill the tanks, my men are going to get out, and if my men are still in, I'm going to win, and then I'm going to shoot you from behind that line. And that's how it plays. And yes, the data sheets change and the points change, and which leave and rust variants you take change, but actually that's how that list works.
It's fundamental.
So. And let's be honest, it's the coolest way to play Guard.
It is. I mean, people might be like, "What?" No, I'm massively biased, of course. I am, but people think that I am an infantry commander, and for the longest time, I was an infantry commander, and I do love the infantry corps. But the first competitive Guard armies that I ever ran, and the first way I loved running my Guard was mechanized, and I'm talking from sort of 15, 16 years old. So coming up to, a decade and a half, Mech Guard was the original. Mordian Glory was originally Armageddon Steel Legion Glory. And then 7th edition came along, and it was like, I'm just going to take as many bodies as possible, because that's the only way I can survive Eldar.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a couple of little bits I want to touch upon.
Yeah.
First, this is going to be a moment for you to sort of wax lyrical. For the first time yesterday, you ran Tyranids. Now, You're not a huge Tyranid fan aesthetically.
No.
Which I think you will be ruthlessly lambasted for down in the comments.
That's fine.
But we won't look at Tyranids specifically. We'll look at the type of army you ran, which was a fast-moving assault army.
Yes.
And that was the first time you'd run something like that.
Yes.
Take us through your thoughts.
It was good fun. it was nice not doing it and having. It was very different. It got me out of my comfort zone. I was just like, oh right, I need to actually just go forward. Oh well, we'll just go forward and see how it works. Different place, and we've often said that actually I need to play more of that just to get me out of my, be a bit more ambitious with my play style, I think is the way. But then randomly, it kind of worked out quite well. Because randomly.
Hey! You got the Epic Jordan box there, didn't you? You managed to snag one.
Yeah. I did. I was like literally driving home from the football on the Saturday. Well, you know what? Sod it. I'm going to call into the local Warhammer store. I was like, if they got one, it's fate. I was not expecting to have one, and he had
Yeah,
one. I was like, oh, bugger, I've got to buy it now.
gotta buy it. Yeah. So Emperor
Sort of
Children
right,
are a very
right.
fast-moving assault army. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, they're quite elite though, aren't they? Which is probably yeah. It's strange actually having all those bodies covers up for a whole host of mistakes that you can make. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with Emperor's Children somehow.
This is the secret, Simon. Like, people have come to the mistaken conclusion that I know what I'm doing and that I'm a
Yeah,
good player. The reality is, I'm not actually very good, but
no, you
I
just don't let me have.
I cover up my mistakes by playing horde armies, and horde armies are very forgiving.
That is what I discovered yesterday.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, yeah.
Do you know what's funny,
So,
Simon? You say you don't like Tyranids.
yeah.
It was like a duck taken to water, mate. It was. I've never seen, honestly, in all of my time, the only other time I've seen this is when Johnny got his Dark Elder.
Yeah.
And I've said this is the second time in my entire Warhammer career when I've seen someone so naturally take to an army. You might not think you're a Tyrannid player, man, but I think you are, because you basically look at the army you ran. It was basically hybrid guard, but instead of being defensive, holding the line, it was
yeah.
instead of Kazakhin, you had Gene Stealers. Instead of
Yeah.
guardsmen, you had Hormagaunts and Termagants. Instead of tanks, you had big bugs.
No, yeah, look, I did enjoy it. I just can't. I really don't like the aesthetics of it. That's the thing. Maybe I've got, because most of my armies are elite. Well, no, they're not really, but
They are. You've got elite-ish guard. You've got
yeah, very nice.
Grey Knights, Necrons. You do like a bit of a Silver Tide, to be fair.
Yeah, that's my preferred way of playing Necrons. It just doesn't work at all. And Raven, yeah, maybe, yeah. Look, I did enjoy it. It was a nice change. I just really don't like the aesthetics, and the thought of painting all those things just fills me with dread.
So it's an arm. So basically, when we do battle reports with channel armies, if I would say, because you were a bit hesitant about the Tyranids, I know you were, but if I was to say, Simon, do you fancy cracking out the Tyranids for a game? You would be like, yeah, I'm okay with that now.
I'll play them again, yeah.
Yeah, you play them again.
Yeah.
Whereas if I said to you, Simon, would you use the tower again? You'd kill me.
Well, no, but I showed up yesterday expecting to play towers. I was like, it was like walking to the gallows. It was like that scene. Honestly, it was like the Green Mile.
A man not to mince his words, our Simon.
Honestly, I was like that. Right, someone find me a little mouse to touch, and it's going to live forever. Because that's how I was feeling walking there.
Oh.
I'm scared. Yeah, honestly, oh god.
So you don't like playing
Yeah.
Tau, you don't like playing into Tau, but you don't mind playing with Tyranids or playing into Tyranids.
Look, they're good. Yeah, well, apart from that time, Dan killed my bloody my Nightbringer with a spore mine, but that's a whole different story. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
It still loves to remind me of that. No, actually, look, they were good. I genuinely enjoyed playing them, and it was a nice change. It was a bit like playing the Knights as well. Actually, I really liked playing the Knights because that was,
More
deep
aggressive.
deep striking Castellans. Have it. That's
Yeah. It's
coolest
interesting.
thing ever.
Yeah, I mean, it is cool. And I think Tyranids are pretty cool, like that carpet of bugs running towards you.
You know what? Maybe an Orc Horde army is on the horizon.
I am getting one.
No, yeah.
That's the last Horde army I need to basically complete. I kind of need Silver Tide as well, but it's the last sort of traditional or a Horde army that I need to.
I don't think Silver Tide can be classed because they're so bloody expensive.
Yeah, I guess even
That's like-
even at their cheapest at 10 points a guy, it's still probably a bit much.
Yeah, you're running 100 and it's 1,000 points. No, I did enjoy it, and yeah, but it was good fun, and it was quite a plug and play army, shall we say?
Yeah. It was like I said, I can't tell you, man, how like it was like playing against someone who played them for years. Like it was just The only thing you needed me to remind you of was the stats, and we just had to check those a few times throughout the game. Here's the thing, man. I have a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, not another one.
Not
another one.
No, not another one. I think that Tyranids are a natural army for most Guard players, and I don't think, and I think there's a reason why often Tyranid and Guard players get on. I think there's a reason why Tyranid and Guard often, when you play a match into Tyranids as Guard, you often feel like it was a really good game, win or lose. You had fun, and
yeah,
I think the armies are very, very similar in the way that they can be built traditionally.
Yeah, very much so.
And I think the reason why because this is it's very because I went on this journey about a year ago when I got the Tyranids, and it's interesting seeing you going through this sort of in a sort of microcosm, as it were, but using the Tyranids and going through the same sort of experience. It feels like you're playing Guard, but instead of being instead of everyone attacking you and you always having to be reactive, it feels like you're playing Guard, but it's proactive. You feel it's an offensive Guard army rather than a defensive one.
Yeah, it's fair word. Yeah, good way of looking at it.
Because when you're playing even when you're playing Steel Legion, which is obviously traditionally more like I'm going to drive up to you and everything, you're still like, oh no, please don't touch me, please don't get in combat. Do you know what I mean? You're still just like blasting people and trying to keep them off you. You're like, I can't get too close because if I get too close, they're going to charge me and mess me up.
Yeah.
As a Tyranid, you're just like, and just sort of go at them.
It was quite weird towards the end of the game, and you're like, I'm going to tie you up, and I'm like, that's fine, just you knock yourself. It was actually you think you're tying me up, and then
it boomeranged.
That's absolutely fine. You do that for the rest of the game all you want, because I'm going to come back quicker than you are.
Yeah. I have to say, I think Tyranids are really, really, really fun. I really like them.
Yeah. It was a nice palate cleanser, to be fair.
A bit of
that particular list and that particular, because I don't want to disparage Nid's play. It wasn't a difficult list to play. It was quite, Well, actually, I'm going to disparage you here at this point. It was like quite a simple list to play. It was like, what would Tim do? Just yeet a load of bodies at the middle objective and win.
I did build you that list.
What would Tim do, right? Yeet a load of bodies at the centre objective and some bullshit dice rolls. Jobs are good.
Jobs are good. That's the only way, man. That's the only way. You got to get your fundamentals right. You got to get your foundations right. Yeah. But I did give you like a bit of a briefing, I think partially on camera, partially off camera, where I was like, this is an army where you're going to take a lot of casualties, but you'll win on points by the end of the game. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So your bullshit. I was about turn 3 when your bullshit
kicked in.
I was just like, yeah.
It only flared up for a little bit. It
was it was just like a little false little, but yeah.
Little blip on the radar.
Yeah. I was like, because I literally went from going, I've got this in the bag to not this shit again, and then back again. I was just like, I'm gonna kill you.
So I think the only the sort of to sort of finish this sort of bit off, and I think we'll sort of I think this is probably the last bit we'll talk about, sort of wrap it up if that feels all right. It feels like a natural point, Simon. Don't know how you feel.
Got games to play for.
Yeah, exactly. We should briefly. We'll have a 5-minute power, 5 minutes on what you're playing. And, yeah. But the one thing I would say is there's a lot of Guard players right now that are struggling to feel the codex. They're struggling to not quite getting it. I'm in that camp at the moment, and I think there's two things to take away from everything we talked about up to this point. I think there's two things. One, you're probably trying to be too clever. Go back to your fundamentals. If the old ways still work. And secondly, if you're really not feeling Guard right now, but you don't want to, you want a palate cleanser, but you don't want to go off to something like Old World, you don't want to, or Bolt Action. You don't want. I mean, I think those are fantastic games, and I really think we probably should touch on at some point what old world right now versus 40k. Maybe that's time for a different podcast episode. But Tyranids. I think if you're a guard player who wants a 40k base palette cleanser, I've experienced this, Simon's experienced this, I think Tyranids are the natural palette cleanser for guard. Play an army that feels like guard, but for once, be the aggressor, and it truly feels quite liberating. Feels really nice.
Yeah. Or nice.
Oh, no, do knights. No, knights are okay. Knights are okay, yeah. But I think they're just a little too different, but we'll see. Simon, 2 minutes.
Yes.
What's your list? What you're playing? What's the game? What are your thoughts?
I'm playing new Shooty Orcs tonight.
Daka, big Daka.
Yeah. So, right. So this is where I'm up to. Right. We'll see. So I think I'm going to go Hammer of the Emperor.
Okay.
Because I want to try my, you're telling me my Hellhound theory was correct, so I'm going to give that a go.
Yeah.
So, Leontis, need a CP. Rogel Dawn Tank Commander, after me slating it. Not slating it, but...
Controversial.
With the Calm Under Fire.
Is that the extra order?
Tech Priest. 5 lots of Cadians in Chimeras.
Okay.
2 Armoured Cents, 2 Hellhounds, and a Vanquisher, and that gives me 250 points left to play with.
More tanks. You got 5 Cadians, say 5 Chimeras.
Yeah. So I'm either torn between a Vank and another Sentinel. Or...
How many Vanquishers?
I've only got one at the moment, so that'll give me 2 Vanks and a Tank Commander. And 3 Sentinels.
Sentinels can't be taken in 3s as squadrons anymore.
No, so I've literally just got 3 individual units.
Will there be Scout Sentinels?
I guess I could actually replace them, couldn't I? Because I've got them in as armoured at the moment.
You want to go... So, my advice would be go for 1 Scout Sentinel. Because the only reason you want it is it's the cheapest way to get a fast Scout in there for if you draw like extend battle lines turn 1, but you don't want to send something super expensive out there.
Yeah.
And I would go for an extra... That will save you quite a few points.
Yeah, see, that'd be the option actually. If I went with... Where are we here? That's not 1, 2... Get another Hellhound.
That would probably get you triple Vank. You don't have the orders, that's the
Here
problem.
we go.
Okay, he's on it.
So, Leontis, Dawn Commander, Tech Priest, 5 Cadian squads, 5 Chimeras, 3 Hellhounds, 2 Vanks, 2 Sentinels. 2 Scout Sentinels. 2,000 points on the nose.
That sounds perfect. Yeah. Because you've got your Rogel Dawn can do 3 orders, so it's going to order itself and the 2 Vanks.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And then I've got the Hellhounds that can just smash through places, and I've got 2 Scout Sentinels with las cannons. And yeah, I didn't think Scout Sentinels. I've been toying around trying to find extra points, and that's just answered that question.
There you go, man. There you go. I think that's a really solid list. Personally, I'm kind of like, if I was to tweak that list for my personal preferences, I might go down to 1 Sentinel.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying do this, by the way. I'm just offering an alternative. This would be a side grade, not an upgrade. I'd consider going down to 1 Sentinel, and I would consider going for Lehman Russ commanders, because then you might, and then I'd drop a Hellhound. So what I would end up with is, I think it's possible, like 2 Russ commanders, 2 Vanquishers, 2 Hellhounds, something like that, or 3 Vanquishers, something like that. Might not quite work.
We'll do, but I've still only got 3 Russes, which is quite disgusting, really.
Yeah, you need more.
I do need to get more. I've actually got 2 waiting to be done.
There's one thing I would say. I actually stick with your original list, mate. 100%. I would consider putting one of those Sentinels in reserve. Because at the moment, you've not got any Scions for, like, deep striking down.
Well, it was going to sit in reserve, yeah.
One starts. And that's actually... I know we said we were going to stop, but I actually have to say one last thing. And this is like a little... almost like a Marvel after-credits scene with how late this has been mentioned in the video. I'm completely off Scions now. I wouldn't even put a 5-man squad in a
No, not at 70 points. No.
I have had a couple of games now, 2 or 3 games now with Scions, where I've run a 5-man squad, and they've not had the opportunity to come in and get the secondary, like, behind enemy lines. It just hasn't come up. And when they were 50 points, I was willing to take that risk. Like, it's only 50 points, so if they don't turn up, they can't, because, you know, either I'm screened out or the car doesn't come in time. But they were only 50 points, so it wasn't a big ask. At 70 points for a unit to just not be able to do the one job that I ask it to do, I'm like, no, I'm gone. For me, I think either some sort of Sentinel just going into strategic reserve, or Gaunt's Ghosts, because I think they can do good. They can do orders, so you can have them ordering units, and then they can just go up when you think there's going to be a gap in the enemy lines. That's the way I would do it. Yeah, I think Scions are completely, utterly dead, and it's why I've got zero interest in running Bridgehead. I'll run Bridgehead if you make me, Simon, but I've got basically zero interest in running it.
Everything else.
I've been putting it off, man. I've been putting it off.
Oh, right, here you go. Right, change of plan.
Okay.
Leontis.
Yep.
Rogel Dawn Tank Commander.
Yeah.
Tech Priest. Commissar. This is a little action monkey. Five Armoured Fists. 2 Hellhounds, 3 Vanks, 1 Scout Sentinel.
Nice. Very nice. I'm just thinking you can order 3 of those. Two you can order. So one of the banks isn't going to have an order right away, but don't forget.
Leontis can order it.
Leontis can order it. He just won't have a Voxcaster, but it can, if there's a good firing lane, he can just basically Leontis can sit behind like a ruin, and the bank can receive the order from 6 inches away, and he can just sling shells down. So yeah, it works.
Or I just don't give it the tank commander, I give it to the 3 banks.
Yeah, true. With whichever seems like that needs it at the time. You just manage the order economy a little bit, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
There you go. Right, we'll see how we get on.
Well, next time we meet, you will have played that game, and we will talk about it, and you can let me know what you think of Mordaka, and you can let me know what you think of traditional mech inside Hammer of the Emperor. I don't mean to intimidate you, and you probably, I shouldn't tell you this, I'm going to voodoo you before you go into your game, but Mordaka has now been banned by multiple tournaments.
Is it really?
It's
what?
Eldar levels bad.
Fair enough, we'll see how we get on.
If you manage to beat it, it's a very... don't be intimidated, just think of the glory you managed to beat it.
You know what? I always think it was that every so often when you do get no fun in a tournament, but when you're playing your mates and they do get a bust, you know, it's only so often you get that sort of 6-week period where you've got a busted attachment, and sometimes you've got to take it on the chin and let them give you a good stuffing.
Exactly. There we go.
Apart from you, because you're a dick.
Of course. I mean, I am the exception that proves the rule.
No, I didn't. You know what? It's not often you get the chance to go and just, no, if it's like you're in a tournament and you're playing 18 different variations, different kettle of fish, but when you're just playing your mates in that sort of 6-week period when it is a bit ridiculous, then it's just good fun. I've got some beers to take with me, so beer and pretzels, and get my ass handed to me by the Orkies.
There you go. And at the end of the day, I have to say I relish getting the opportunity to face broken stuff. Not only because I like to test my metal against it, but also I like to learn about it and I can talk about it. Because as we've said many times, and it's been a bit of a theme with the last few videos we've done. What looks good on paper or what people talk about online does not really translate to tabletop many times. There we go. But Simon, I think that's going to be that. I just want to say thank you so much, of course, for coming on and giving up your time. And I want to say a huge thank you to all of you guys that watched the video. Hope you liked it. Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section. We've covered a huge range of pretty much pure guard topics today. And I just want to ask, let us know what you think. Comment away and all that good stuff. If you like the video, don't forget to smash the like button. If you dislike the video, you can dislike it. Press the dislike button because YouTube can't tell the difference between likes and dislikes. It just sees interactivity. So by disliking it, you're actually supporting me. And of course, subscribe to never miss an episode. Simon, a pleasure as always. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.